But speaking of media, if you'll rewind your brain just a bit, you'll remember that I mentioned that the coffee table had been tipped over on its side, and underneath was a stack of magazines.
I remember.
Seemed pretty pointless to mention.
Yeah, but you see, like, that's the writer's mind.
Yes, the magazines, yes, they seemed like a superfluous detail in the past. But you will now see that it is, in fact, the most important clue.
Okay.
You fucking idiot.
So stupid.
You'll never know anything.
Okay. By the way, I do have sweat on
Yeah,
my
look
breast.
at now I'm sweating like a fucking animal.
I'm fine.
I know you
Yeah.
were gonna. I
It's
knew
okay.
you were gonna be.
Now I'm comfortable. Yeah.
I'm hot.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. But well, the caption read,
Evil lurks in California. Lee Marvin is afraid.
Well, that's horrible press for Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin
was
is historically not afraid.
And I like it because it was just a picture of Lee Marvin hiding behind a blanket. Like you saw his two, like, whoa.
no,
I'd be furious if I was Lee Marvin's publicist.
I'm the $6 million man, right? Isn't that Lee Marvin?
No, Lee Marvin was the leader of the Dirty Dozen. Like, he's like this is like the man's man.
Yeah, he's more badass than Steve McQueen at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that was the point that they were trying to make, is that the problem in
he's
California is so fucking horrible that even Lee Marvin is afraid.
Lee Marvin's scared of these skinniest boys you'll ever find.
Every time I get near one, all I want to do is kiss it. And really, I'm just afraid of destroying the sanctity of my marriage.
Now, the reason why Lee Marvin was afraid was because of the focus of that issue, which I love to get a copy of this issue, because Lee Marvin was on the cover and everything. The subject was witchcraft cults, drug orgies, and violence perpetrated by hippies in California. In one picture detailing a satanic orgy, one could see an acid queen with long blonde hair consummating a candlelit orgy by copulating with a black swan.
Just bring me in.
I don't know how that works, though.
Well, the swan normally is there. I also think the swan
But they said
can eat pussy.
copulating with the black swan.
Yeah, they
Maybe
put
the-
feed on their pussy, and then the swan gets in there. But
Well,
the
you
tiny
lube
teeth-
up its head. It's got a long neck.
And you shove it
Yeah,
in
you
there.
just fuck the whole head.
Yeah,
I
you let
honest-
it, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
mostly,
Flail.
honestly.
Yeah, it's like the female version of the gerbil thing.
Yeah.
It just flails around.
It could be that, or it's just fucking there underneath your balls.
It was
Playing with
But it's
your
a
butt.
woman. It was
a
a
woman.
woman.
Yeah, playing with your pussy back.
How did Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman do it?
That's straight up old-fashioned way. And the tongues do the reading.
If you scissor with a swan, you get eggs inside of you.
Yeah.
But perhaps more important was an article about the Manson family that focused on the grisly details of the Sharon Tate murder. Specifically, the article spoke extensively about the use of the word pig at the crime scene.
Of course.
Detailing that it had been written on the headboard in Sharon Tate's bedroom. Exact same scene. He copied it.
Yes.
It also didn't hurt that both Tate and Colette were pregnant. Another piece of the puzzle. But what all this points to, from the blonde acid queen to the pig graffiti, was the fact that Jeffrey MacDonald had taken direct inspiration from this issue of Esquire to stage a false copycat crime.
He had that idea that night.
Yeah.
Like, he literally was gonna be looking through the magazine. He was like, no fucking way.
Come on, Esquire, give me some answers. Give me some answers. Give me some answers.
Okay,
If
what
if anything has the answers to Esquire.
I'll write a letter to Lee Marvin, and I'll tell him to come to my house and eliminate my hippie family.
And it's like back then, it's not a copycat, it's a copy cool cat.
Okay.
Joke for toddlers.
Right. And it's again, this is about our new toddler-based true crime initiative. You know, Ted Bundy for babies. Again, I think that will also be good.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Chase for Children. Yeah. that one's problematic. That one's problematic.
Ed Gein be great at making a bottle top.
Oh, God.
Ed Gein was beloved by children.
Oh,
he was the town babysitter. No shit.
Really?
Well,
No,
he
that's completely true.
Definitely had
say-
free time.
He uses the word beloved like really loosely. I think that he was tolerated and that he was a simpleton that they just sort of allowed. They were like, he's harmless. What does he know what to do? He's just sit there going, He's just waving at the road and shit like every day, like waving at road signs, like being like, the birds tell me that I killed my mother. You know what I mean? Like it's all.
Nope. On the night that Bernice Warden's body was found, he was having a pickle dinner. This is no shit.
I remember.
It was a pickle dinner at his 10-year-old friend's house, at a little boy's house, with the parents, of course.
It was Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
A boy who's a friend to adults everywhere.
They said pickle dinner is just a pickle with a knife and a fork. Right?
Yes.
Well, it
It's
was
hands.
at that point. Yeah, it was mostly pickles.
Yeah.
That was the focus of the meal, was pickles. Now, initially, forensics had a field day with evidence gathering. Firstly, blue pajama threads were found in every room a murder occurred in places that only the murderer would have been. Additionally, threads weren't found in places that they should have been. And the same went for splinters left behind by the murder club.
You wouldn't believe. All right. The threads were everywhere.
Everywhere. One of the most telling clues was the fact that while every room was soaked and splattered and streaked and stained with blood, and while Jeffrey claimed to check everyone's pulse to make sure they were dead, and while everyone had extensive neck wounds, there was no blood on the telephone Jeffrey used to call for help.
Again, why stain the landline? Washing.
What are we doing here?
I'm a surgeon.
That's exactly what he later said. He said, I'm a surgeon. I just wash my hands out of habit. I look down, I see blood on my hands. I gotta go. I'm washing.
I'm
you know?
washing
And
it.
everybody's fucking dead anyway. So what the fuck do I need to call 911 for in such a fucking hurry?
Yeah, what do you want from me? I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
I can't hear you dying.
Finally, a neighbor who had been afraid to get involved at first came forward and reported hearing Colette's loud, angry voice coming from the MacDonald house that night. Even more disturbingly, the neighbor's daughter said that she heard Jeffrey either sobbing loudly or laughing hysterically. Neither, however, heard a struggle.
I imagine it was both.
A little like, alternating.
Yeah. Going back and forth.
I wonder what my neighbors hear.
Yeah.
Is the loud.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, it sounds the same.
Definitely acid is groovy.
Yeah. My house
the
is
pigs.
the same. Yeah. But again, it's about pork.
Yeah.
Now, even without 44 days of forensic investigation, that's what they did on that house. They spent 44 days in that house.
Oh my God.
Jeffrey was the main suspect by the second day.
Me?
And
Moi?
he didn't know that, though. But by February 23rd, 6 days after the murder, investigators were confident enough to contact the FBI and tell them that they could stop their nationwide manhunt for 4 killer hippies.
Meanwhile, they've just been having so much fun beating the living fuck out of hitchhikers.
Hold on. I gotta stop beating hippies.
Hey, okay, all right, we know. What if we stop officially looking for them, right? We just do it for fun.
The problem was that even though there was a ton of forensic evidence, the team on the job fucked up at almost every turn. And what was left that pointed towards Jeffrey was mostly circumstantial. See, it's one thing to look at a scene and say, holy fuck, it's so obvious that this guy totally fucking did it.
Yeah, him, no wounds, just sitting there. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah.
But it's another thing entirely to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court that a charming Green Beret would suddenly murder his entire family, especially since the Manson family murders were so fresh on everyone's mind. Additionally, Colette's parents had nothing but the highest praise for their son-in-law, saying that he was not capable of such a thing. And everyone investigators spoke to also had nothing but the highest praise for a man whose biggest weakness was probably that he worked too hard.
He cared too much. I know how it is. But, it just shows that what compartmentalization can do and how you can basically live a whole separate life and no one will have any fucking idea what's going on in the center of your goddamn brain.
Yeah, because on paper, he's like someone you look up to.
Of
you know? And
course,
so you
yes,
don't
he's-
want to believe that
No.
this guy.
No, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
He's a doctor. And he weighed all of that, I think, against his crimes.
And not only that, you got to really remember the context of the crimes here. You got to remember the year. This is 1970. This is when vets are coming back from Vietnam and being literally called baby killers.
Yeah.
That is the narrative that is going on amongst certain, people in America.
Meanwhile, the ones that stayed behind and didn't go killed babies.
It's true.
It's real complicated, man. There's a lot of ins and outs when it comes to this. And so the prosecution would have to rely on hard evidence, very little of which still existed. For example, at the hospital, McDonald's pajama bottoms had been burned with the hospital trash because nobody thought to keep them.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, it goes on and on.
That's so aggravating.
Back at the McDonald home, the CID hadn't secured the garbage there either, and the trash collectors were allowed to take away bags that might have contained, say, a blood-stained surgical glove with one finger missing.
You fucking kidding.
Concerning that bloody bare footprint, that got destroyed by accident when technicians tried removing the floorboards and fucked up the whole operation. It just went snap, crack, done.
Good God.